What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for the Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 13, Episode 6. Now, I don't know why we missed last week, but I'm glad because I thought I had missed it. But anyway, we are here. So we start this episode off. We have Dolores had her surgery on her wrist, and Jennifer, the new Jennifer, went to go visit her and talk to her. And let me say this. The new ladies are drawing their battle lines, right? Rachel is team, Margaret, and I ain't gonna say she's team Margaret. She's team, you not gonna make me choose a side. Let me say that. But I feel like she's leaning towards the Margaret, Melissa side of things. Danielle is team Jennifer, Teresa. And the new Jennifer she's friends with Margaret, but she'll tell you when you're wrong. And listen, I like the new girls. Even though Danielle, I feel like, but I like her. I like her attitude. I like her spunk. So anyway, so the new Jennifer went to go visit Margaret. And again, remember, her and Margaret are friends, like in real life friends. But she told Margaret, listen, you you were a lot at my house. Like, you were doing a lot. And she told her, she said, you were acting like a 6-year-old. Like, the way that you and Jennifer were arguing back and forth, it was not cute. It was very unbecoming. And y'all were arguing like a bunch of 6-year-olds. And Margaret was, the one thing I can appreciate is that Margaret was taking it. She didn't agree with it, but she was like, yeah, but, she just makes me crazy, and she just does this, and she just does that, and I just can't deal with her, and she just da. And I was like, but what I could appreciate, though, was that she pulled her coattail and was like, look, you my friend, but I have to let you know that wasn't cute, what you had going on, right? So, child, I gotta go to my notes already, child. So, she told her, you need to find a better way to deal with things, right? So then we saw Teresa. Oh, that wasn't the first scene. I'm sorry. The first scene was Teresa in therapy. So we saw Teresa. I don't know how I jumped all the way to Margaret. Okay, let me rewind. We saw Teresa in therapy, and Teresa was just talking to the fact that she's been in therapy for 6 months. Louis has been such a, a great influence, yada, yada, yada. She said that, she talked about how the family's just in a sad space right now. She said that everybody went to Antonia's Sweet 16, but Antonia didn't come to her daughter's Sweet 16. She said, well, they said she had a cheer competition, but all of her cousins were there except for Antonia, and she was really upset by that. Now, on one hand, I'm gonna be like, but if she had a cheer competition, she had a cheer competition. All of y'all do that competitive cheering. But Teresa, you know that, you've had to miss things because your daughters had cheer competitions. I remember a couple of seasons ago, she missed, I think, an event Melissa had because she had to go on a cheer competition, and there was a whole conversation. So, on one hand, I think it might have been legit, but on the other hand, I can see that, like, listen, it's for Sweet 16. Not saying miss the cheer competition, but can you make it back? Is there any way you can make it happen? When you're in a bad space with somebody, you second guess everything. Whereas if they were in a good space and they were on speaking terms, she probably wouldn't question it. She was like, oh, it's just a shame, But she said that she's enjoying going through the therapy and finding a better way to deal with her issues, because she just doesn't like, and of course, they went all the way back to every time Teresa has ever acted a fool, right? So then we saw Jennifer and Bill at the house. She got the kids cleaning up and all that good stuff. And she's talking to Bill about what happened with Margaret. And she was like, when we see Margaret, I don't want you to be nice to her because she said this about me, and she did this to me, and she did that to me, and she tried to turn me into a big old drug addict. And she said, Margaret just doesn't care about my kids. She just doesn't care about what my kids think. So first you expose the affair, now you're going to have my kids thinking I'm a drug addict because I like to smoke a little weed. Now, this is what I'm going to say. And this is probably going to come out really wrong, and y'all can put it in the comments. That's fine. I'm okay with it. But I'm going to say two things. The first thing I'm going to say is this. You went on a reality show. You know what this gives. You know that on a reality show, people are going to turn over every rock to find all your business, between the blogs, between your castmates, between people that you knew in high school that didn't like you, that want to call and tell everybody the story. Like, this is what it gives. I'm not saying that makes it okay, and I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm saying that those are the things that you have to weigh when you decide to do a reality show, especially in this day and age, because that is what people do. They go to the blogs and everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. I'm not saying that makes it okay. The second thing I'm going to say is, this is what I've been told. I'm not necessarily saying I agree with this, but you don't get to do me dirty and then tell me how to fight back. And Jennifer, you came for Margaret. You called that woman a hoe. You talked about her marriage. You came at her. You made some really nasty comments about her. And so she fought back. Was it right? Was it too far? Did she do too much? I mean, everybody can be the judge of that. But you are not innocent, Jennifer. Margaret has not, it's not for no reason. Why does my lighting keep changing? It's not that she just absolutely for no reason came after you. You definitely threw down the baton. I think both of them at this point are doing a lot. But okay. I did feel bad though later on in the episode. I ain't gonna lie, I felt bad for Jennifer at the end of this episode. I did. We'll get to that, but I did. I felt bad for her. But anyway, then we had the Margaret conversation with Jennifer. So we have Paulie and Dolores. First of all, Dolores' dad shows up and he is so cute. He reminded me of my father because he bought his own soda, talking about Dolores was like, Dad, you bought your own soda? He was like, yeah, I didn't want to put yous out. He was cute. But we found out that Paulie has to have heart surgery because he has an abnormal, I don't think it's quite an abnormal heartbeat, but he has some sort of heart situation that he has to go and have surgery to have it corrected, you know. And Dolores was like, listen, it took me this long to find a man, and I'm scared. Like, you know, I'm afraid. I mean, it's a heart surgery. It's not, you know, but then they get to talking about Frank again or whatever, and her relationship with Frank and her dad. And her dad, they were like, listen, you know, you did everything that you did to keep your family together, right? Basically, Frank lived a good life off of you. And like Dolores said, she said pretty much nothing changed in my relationship with Frank except for us being intimate. Like we lived pretty much as a couple for many, many years, and I did it, and I put up with it, and I dealt it. I have no idea why my lighting keeps changing, y'all. I'm sorry. But I dealt with it because of my kids. She said, and now it's my turn, and everybody's just going to have to get over it. And her father said, absolutely, like, I agree. Like, you know, I like Paulie. You know, if you like him, that's what's most important. But, you know, listen, Frank gonna have to deal with it. He's spoiled. You spoiled him. He's gotten used to things being a certain way, and he gonna have to deal with the fact that it is what it is, and it's different. And the other thing, too, that Frank, and this came up in the next scene, they go out to the batting cages to get ready for the charity. Oh, what's up with this lighting? I don't know why it keeps changing. It just keeps look at that. The lighting keeps changing. Anyway. But the one thing that they told Frank was, listen, you can't expect that every man that Dolores dates is cool with becoming your best friend. And that's what he expected from Paulie. He expected Paulie to fall right in line and do what David did. And Paulie is not doing that. Paulie's like, listen, me and you don't have to be friends. Like, I'm not interested in being your friend. I have no desire to be your friend. I don't hate you, but we ain't friends. And so, you know, because Frank is like, I've been calling him and he won't call me back because he doesn't want to be your friend. He's dating Dolores. He's not interested in a Dolores Frank show. He's just not. And I can respect him for that. So anyway, we go to the batting cages. I kind of already told y'all what happened at the batting cages, but we have Rachel, her husband, Frank, his girlfriend, Joe, and Melissa. So we have the whole Frank Dolores conversation. Like I said, I just told y'all that. But Rachel lets Melissa know what happened at the birthday party and how Teresa and Margaret Teresa and Jennifer basically warned her against Margaret. And Melissa was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. I knew that was some bullshit. I knew that Teresa wasn't really cool with Margaret. She hates Margaret. She hates me. She hates Joe. And this just further proves that this whole kumbaya thing that she's on is some bullshit. She was like, you don't have to, and Rachel's thing is, look, I don't need anybody to warn me about anybody. Like, first of all, I'm not scared of anybody. And I really want to just get to know people on my own terms. Like, I don't want, yes, her friendship is with Melissa, but she was like, but I'm open to meeting everybody and getting to know everybody, and I don't need the input, And of course, like I said, that's all Melissa and Joe needed to prove that Teresa was just on some BS to begin with, and this is all bullshit. She never really meant it. She never really wanted us to be, but everybody to be cool and be friends, whatever. So anyway, we get to the charity baseball game. Now, let me tell you what I love about this baseball game. Now, I look at a lot of reality shows. I look at a lot of Housewives reality shows, and a lot of times they put these events together, and the events are bullshit, and they put them together just to do it for the show. But this is a real charity event that involves people. They do it every year, and I'm absolutely here for, at least this is the second year I know they've done it. But I know Dolores always does a fundraiser for this particular hospital. We've seen it in other seasons. Now, this year she's got the calendar to go along with the baseball game. And it looks like everybody brought their kids this year. Well, a lot of people brought their kids this year that were old enough to play. Where we didn't see that last year. At least I don't remember seeing it. Again, my memory, But now, of course, Margaret can't play, child. She just had surgery on her wrist, but she shows up to support Margaret. And everybody comes to support Margaret. Like, everybody's there, and they bring the kids, and it's all good. So, of course, Danielle has a conversation with them about what happened at the birthday party, and Margaret gets pissed off, and Margaret's like, what the hell, like, why would they warn you? Like, nobody needs to warn you against me. And she was like, well, Teresa just said that you're a better enemy, that you're a better friend than an enemy, and I don't want to get on your bad side. And Margaret was like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't, like, nobody needs to do, like, we're good. Like, I don't have a problem. Like, I'm not the big bad wolf. And Danielle is just kind of like, well, I don't know. Like, y'all do get real vicious with each other. Like, and that's why I was like, okay, you leaning towards the Jennifer, Teresa side. And she was like, I'm cool with Teresa. Like, I like Teresa. I like Jennifer. Jennifer's my friend. And she was like, but, and then she did have a problem with what Margaret said about Melissa's, about the whole, well, you could have married a baseball player, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if this is being blown out of proportion, but what I do know is if Margaret said it to Melissa and Melissa is not upset by it, then why is everybody else mad about it? Like, okay, if me and my man get into an argument and my friend, every time, my friend is like, well, you could do better, because that's what that sounds like to me, is you tell her she could do better, right? That's not what I necessarily want to hear. But again, if Melissa ain't mad and she's not offended, like, I can't be more mad than you are. So, of course, Danielle was like, I wouldn't appreciate that. I wouldn't want somebody saying that about my husband. Like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. You have every right to feel that way. But it's just, I could see if this was something that was said behind Melissa's back. But, child, she said it to Melissa. And Melissa ain't mad, so look. If Melissa like it, I love it, child. So of course that was like the whole conversation about, and Rachel chimed in and kind of was like, yeah, they were just kind of warning us against, warning us to be careful with Margaret and this, that, and the other. And of course Margaret was like, what the F? Like, whatever. So then Jennifer walks in, and of course Jennifer doesn't speak to Margaret, and it is what it is, child. She was like, I'm not speaking to Margaret. I don't need to be friends with Margaret. Margaret is a horrible human being. Yeah. Teresa comes in, and it's awkward, but everybody speaks to, like, all the kids, between her and Joe. They eventually end up speaking to each other. The kids all speak to each other and give each other hugs. It's cool, but it's definitely awkward, and it's definitely a little cold isn't the word. But they did speak or whatever. But definitely not a close family moment. Gia was saying how, you know, she misses her nieces and her cousins, and how every time she sees them, she just feels like, you know, they're getting so big, they're growing so fast, and she feels really bad about where they are, you know, family-wise or whatever. So the baseball game happens, okay? The baseball game happens, and they have a good time. It's cool, you know, it's a great moment, it's a great day. They're selling the calendars. Frank ends up having another conversation with Dolores, and once again, Dolores has to tell him, basically, deal with it. Get over it and deal with it. I feel like in every episode, we've had to have this conversation with Frank and his having to adjust to Paulie being around. And she even told him, like, because he even said, you know, I actually cried the other day because I called you and you said that you would have to call me back. You were busy, and it just brought me to tears. Why? Because she's not available at your beck and call anymore. Because she's not there every time you need her to drop whatever and be there. Like, get over it. She's happy. She's in love. Paulie's cool. I hope his surgery went well. Okay. Then in the last scene, we see Jennifer and Bill go to therapy. And this is where I said I did feel bad for Jennifer. Now, what Jennifer found out is that her daughter was saying that she wanted to be a love doctor, a love therapist, and that she's really upset about the affair. Every time the two of them get into an argument, she's worried that they're gonna, you know, she's like, kiss, make up, y'all love each other, remember y'all love each other. And so it is having a negative effect on the kids and the household. Bill said that he feels very self-conscious about doing anything with the kids that is negative. I mean, like, you know, disciplining the kids or whatever. He said, because I feel like basically he's walking on eggshells around his own kids, because it's like, I'm the big bad wolf. I'm the one that cheated on mom. They already see her as the good guy because she spoils them and she doesn't push them, and I push them, or I have to manage them, and I feel self-conscious because I'm the one that cheated on mommy. So it is having a negative effect on their marriage and on their household. And from that point of view, I do feel bad for Jennifer, even though Jennifer makes it really hard to have sympathy for her. And the kids didn't know about the affair. She said that Olivia found out on TikTok. And I'm like, wow, like, that's, like, you know, I feel bad for that. You know, I do feel bad that that's how it went, you know. The one thing I can say is that I'm glad that they're getting help. I'm glad that they're addressing it. Because it's easy to sweep stuff under the rug, child. But I'm glad that they're addressing it. Let me make sure I got everything I wanted to say in my notes. Yeah, I said pretty much everything I needed to say. So anyway, that was the episode. You guys let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.